All right, guys. Well, again, we want to discuss Easter outreach in the face of the current situation that we are in. I read an article, I believe on Baptist Press yesterday, that kind of taken a statement and adjusted that to this, that even though that things have changed or they've stalled with our plans and the things we normally do this time of the year, our intentionality and our planning should still move forward. And that kind of stuck with me because I do believe we have to be intentional at all times, but especially in a time such as this. And so as we have talked with guys and the pastors the last couple of weeks, of course, there's some frustration, but we hear, hey, I've got a whole bunch of Easter eggs that we always use for our annual Easter egg hunt. What do I do with those? To the other extreme being guys saying, you know what, I guess we're just going to pretend Easter is not happening this year. And I don't believe that's an option for us. I think folks obviously are going to be looking for something. They're desiring opportunities to be with people. Many are looking for hope in face of what we are looking at as a nation and our communities. So as we think about being intentional, here's some ideas. I'll just start us out. Again, we've got Neil Scroggins has joined us. Let's see, Laramie's here. We've got Dr. Sam, Bob Fielding, got some folks from your state convention. We want to answer any questions you've got. So just unmute your mic and holler at us with anything that comes up. And we're just going to go around, really do a round table, and just throw out these ideas. One of the first things that I talked with a pastor, actually interim pastor in Baton Rouge, who pointed out the importance still of doing Holy Week services. And so what he is planning to do is to do a video, go Facebook Live, which many are doing that for their services. He's going to do that for Holy Week every day, and hoping and praying that they get the same engagement with that as they are their services on Sunday. So I don't know if that's something that you traditionally have in your church, Holy Week services, or even just a Good Friday service. But think about how you can use that avenue to jump online, whether you're doing a short devotional or a complete service, whatever it would be, a thought. But to throw those out throughout the week and just to see what happens. Again, a lot of your engagement may be with your church, but as they're sharing that, as they're talking about it, I think we'll see that reach go out, and we can really consider not just something for the church, but as an outreach opportunity that comes along. Another thing is, if you are one of the pastors and you have a whole bunch of Easter eggs that are stuffed even with candy, we're hearing of some churches that are giving those eggs out to their members and asking their members to hide them in their yards. And so they're given a set amount, however, 15, 20 eggs, hide these in your yard, and then they're sending people directly to those church members' yards. And so whether they're having someone register or they're just saying, hey, just show up at the church and we're going to give you an address, but they are sending people to these houses and asking the homeowners to stay inside or to stay at a safe distance, whether they acknowledge them, they speak to them, but not to be close with them to keep it safe, and not mixing families. So not sending two families to the same house, but just sending a family to that particular house to do their Easter egg hunt. And so rather than throwing a bunch of eggs out at the church, really spreading that around in the community as well. And so I've seen guys starting to promote that. I guess one thing to throw out on all of these things we talk about, we don't have very long. You got Sunday when people may be tuning in to hear you. But so really got to get a plan, I think, in place as quickly as possible. So that's another option that you've got if you have a whole bunch of Easter eggs. Another church I've heard is actually doing a drive-through parade type thing where they are just inviting people to their church, and they've got different stations set up, and they're doing kind of scenes of Easter and some other things through that. But they're just having people drive through, similar to, I guess, what you would see at Christmas, maybe with a light display or a live nativity. They're doing that in their parking lot, again, keeping everybody separate, but having people drive through their church parking lot and using that as an opportunity to engage their community. Even saw a church in Searcy that is doing family pictures from the porch this week. And so they promoted, maybe just more within their church than it is community, but I don't think you can limit it just to your church. But promoting, hey, you stand on your porch, we'll come from a safe distance. You've got your Easter outfit, put it on, and let us come and take a picture. And then they're giving a free 5x7 to those families, and they're going to use that Easter to do a slideshow online that they're going to show their families. And so I just saw that one this morning and thought that may be another idea if you could open that to your community. They had people calling a couple different numbers to make appointments. And when they were making the appointment, they were going to come. And like I said, put your best on, stand on your porch, and let us come do your Easter photo. So those are some initial ideas. One other thing I'll throw out, and I won't turn it over to some of the other guys, is Travis McCormick, who's on our missions team, and his church previously has gone to people's houses and hid eggs. So I think they took 12 eggs, and 11 of them were stuffed. One's empty. And so they go, and I think this pretty well, maybe even unannounced, and they're hiding these eggs in their yard, and then they're leaving a note on their front door, or even putting a sign in the yard that you've been egged, and then saying there are 12 eggs in your yard. Don't be discouraged when you find an empty one, because the tomb is empty today. And he sent us the picture of that, said it's available online, some cards you can print out. I can forward that to you if you want to drop me an email. I'll put it over here in the chat. I can send that on to you. So those are some quick things that I have heard that I think are some good opportunities. Turn over to Dr. Sam to share some things. Let's start off, if you would, with the egg hunt that's similar to the bear hunt that we're seeing happen around town.
Yeah, let me just share this one real quickly, and then we'll kind of open it up to discussion. One of the reasons we want to do this, guys, of course, Scripture teaches us that iron sharpens iron. So as pastors, we want to, get those creative juices flowing, and sometimes that happens. A lot of times that happens. I know for me, when I was in discussion with other pastors and I heard ideas that they had. Want to be brief with this, and then we're just going to turn it over to you guys and let you start talking about, hey, here's what we're planning on doing, or these are the problems we're facing, and what can we do to solve those problems, type thing. But I know in Stuttgart, now this is not one church doing this, but it's something that a church could do with church members. They have this template of Easter eggs you can find anywhere. They're encouraging folks to download that, have the children color that, then place that in a window someplace. It's a larger egg that they can color. And then they have that scavenger hunt kind of egg hunt where people just drive around their cars. So of course, if that's, if you're using your church members for that, and the children in the church to do that, then exactly how many of those eggs are there. You can advertise that. You may have some kind of a gift card, that's available, just a small gift card available to those families who complete that, find all the eggs, some kind of form they can fill out, to say, hey, we found them. These are the locations that we found those eggs. But it involves people in the community. So with that, let's go ahead and just kind of turn this over to you guys. What are you planning on doing as far as outreach is concerned on Easter? What obstacles are you running across with that? And let's just see if we can help each other and learn from each other, okay? Who wants to go first there? Hey, Chris Satterwhite, what are you guys doing? Anything happening?
Well, we're evaluating, trying to see. We've heard a church in our community or neighboring community that was going to do the hiding eggs in someone's yard. Um, I guess I'm a little more play it safe. I kind of feel like we want to limit as much contact as we can with things, just because of uh, the reality of what the negative is possibly outweighs the positive that it can have. And so right now we're looking at trying to perhaps enlist some of our people to share just a quick video message of what Easter is to them, to do that both through social media, to put something together that maybe starts our service on online service on Sunday and engages more of our people in that, and then they can use that as an outreach tool for themselves, for their own personal social media accounts, but then also something that kind of again puts together a video together for our community to see what our church family, why they value Easter, what it means to them. And we had a big community-wide one that's been planned. Obviously, it's been we thought at first about delaying, but now I think it's just better to scrap it because we don't know when we'll be able to gather. But I mean, there were probably 800 or 1,000 people there last year, and so trying to find ways to somehow we've got a little bit of an email database developed from that we can at least send out perhaps this video or short snippets of the video to again communicate the meaning of Easter to some of them.
That's a great idea, Chris. Thanks for that, man. That may be something people want to look at. Doing different types of videos with what Easter means to me, and posting that, blasting that on Facebook, putting it on the website. Hey, back to the egg drop type thing. You're talking about you guys do that large community thing every year, and can't do it to that extent. A lot of churches do that. Up in North Arkansas Baptist Association with David Graham, was talking to him just a couple of days ago. I think it was First Harrison. They have a fellow that flies, and they do the egg drop from the plane or the helicopter type thing in a park or the church grounds, that kind of stuff. So they already had all of these eggs already, put together, everything along those lines. But what they are going to do is something that Clint kind of referred to earlier. Instead of just wasting those, they are advertising on their Facebook page for anyone in the community. If you would like for us to come by your house to hide eggs just for your children, for your family, then we will do that. They list the precautions they're going to take, of wiping down all those eggs, of just having one person come into the yard who would have a mask on, who would have gloves on, that would hide that between, say, the hours of 8 and 10 o'clock. And then anytime after 10, that family could go out and hunt those eggs, So they're trying to make the best out of a situation, and trying to answer those or address those issues, those concerns that people have about the safety, the security, the touching and all that, by making sure everything is wiped down prior to putting it in the yard. And then it just being that one family who lives there, no one else coming in, just that one family. And of course, they are using that as an outreach tool, so they can gather information from that family. They can have that for later on to go back to talk with parents, to invite children to activities as well. So that's just one of those options if you've got all those eggs laying around there. Who else has got something you want to share?
Hey, Dr. Sam, if you see me doing like random nonverbal movements, it's because that Bob Fielding is texting me and he's playing Truth or Dare with me on Zoom. But I wanted to share this real quick. There are a lot of times we leave the kids out of the whole Easter resurrection equation. So there's some people that I don't know if they're going to actually pull this off or not. The Easter speeches that they have been handing out actually have parents to record those Easter speeches and post those either on Facebook, either throughout the week or throughout the day on Easter. That way the kids kind of get their parents listening or watching on Facebook to say, hey, I don't know when my Easter speech is coming, and kind of wrap that around a quick message, so that kind of pushes them toward the social media platform that maybe during that day they may not pay any attention to.
Awesome. What else you got there, guys? Matt Pryor, what are you guys going to be doing up in Northeast Arkansas?
Hey, I tell you what, we've been focusing on is simply just trying to stay connected with people, and I'm on here today just to kind of learn some stuff. I do like what Chris said. You know, Chris is an awesome guy, great pastor, and his idea of the families posting videos. We did that with some of our students recently, where we had them. They had 60 seconds to share their testimony. And then they posted those or they sent those to the youth pastor, and he posted them on their youth Instagram page, but just sharing their testimony. But you know, that's kind of what we have planned so far. We have some of the Easter egg stuff we've done, but not really sure if we're going to do any of that right now, or we may wait till all this goes over and celebrate the resurrection at a different Sunday. So that's kind of where we're at right now, though.
Okay. Anybody else with an idea you want to toss out there, or a question you have? Hey, Danny, go ahead.
Hey, Sam. Yeah, I've been talking, of course, with my guys, especially the Bible guys, and people that are just getting into the social media aspects, and of course the online services are going, I think, much better than most people realize. I jokingly put on Facebook, I really enjoy my PJ services. I can get about 4 or 5 churches and drink coffee and leave my hair uncombed, you know, all that good. I mean, that's the way to worship. I'm telling you, if y'all not doing that, you need to get down and you know, you can even have some Sunday go to meeting pajamas laid out if you want to really dress up. But more and more, especially of our older generation who are new to this, are becoming more comfortable with it. One of the things I thought about is a couple of things, and I do appreciate Brother Mike talking about celebrating Easter another Sunday. All of my guys, they'll call, Brother Andy, what do we need to do? What suggestions do you have? And I said, well, my first suggestion is this: do not give up on Easter. It's obvious now, facts being what they are, we're not going to be able to come together as a body physically on Easter. But my suggestion would be, as soon as you know what Sunday we're going to be able to gather back together, you make that Easter Sunday. I mean, do everything: Easter message, Easter musical, Easter egg hunt, Easter fellowship, and promote that thing every way you can. And guys, just remind your folks, a simple Facebook page is not promotion. I mean, it's just not. Do your mail outs and just begin now telling everybody, when we come back together, it's going to be the biggest Easter celebration our church has ever had. Put it out to everybody. Can you imagine? People have been locked up for 6 weeks. How many people would chomp at the bit to come down to your church on the first chance they're able to get out? Anyway, I can start preaching so on. One of the things, though, that I did think about was several years ago, Scott Miller asked me to be a part of a winter Bible study that he did when he was in Lone Oak. And for 5 nights, he invited 5 different speakers to come in and speak up to Easter Sunday, the week of the Easter week. So one speaker spoke on Monday. He did it however he wanted to. He could preach, he could teach, and just the events that happened on that Monday. It was a January Bible study, Rusty from Lifeway, that the format that we followed. Mine was Friday. It was the worst, best day in history, I think, was the title. And I was just thinking, you know, about some of my guys, now that you're getting comfortable with this, a lot of them are doing daily devotionals anyway. Why not storytell or daily devotion up to Easter, and let your church members share and then build all the way up to your online Easter celebration. That way, hey, my pastor's doing, or my, you know, Sunday school teacher's doing Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday up to Sunday, you know, Resurrection Sunday. Way to keep your folks engaged, in a way, really, I think, to build momentum for Easter Sunday online services. So anyway, to me, at the time I thought about it, it sounded brilliant. I don't know what it sounds like now.
Good ideas, Danny. Hey guys, let me ask another question along this line. How are you planning right now to celebrate Easter? Are you just doing the service? Are you doing Facebook Live? Or are you doing the kind of a drive-in, where everybody's in the parking lot? You do the FM transmitter thing. Easter is that Sunday where we have each one of us all across our state, where we have the most people gathered at one time, in our church buildings for the celebration of Easter, of the resurrection. So what platform or platforms are you using right now? Will that change any on Easter Sunday? Let's approach it that way and see what we get. Okay, do I need to go person to person? Somebody going to jump in there?
I'll jump in for just a second. I'm just glad I haven't heard anybody say that they're encouraging folks to stay home and watch The Tiger King. I actually thought The Tiger King was a documentary about Ed Orgeron and Rusty Richardson, but it turns out it's about some other people instead.
Tigers.
I saw Rusty's tiger background up there, but as far as Easter, I've heard of some different things that people are doing. I've talked to one pastor who they are talking about doing the drive-in church, but to prepare for the larger crowd, they're trying to work it out to do it at the school parking lot where they'll have still plenty of room for everybody to spread out and do that at the school parking lot. I've heard the idea of encouraging individual families to get up and have a sunrise service and breakfast together and then tune in for the online service. As far as the activities, I've heard of people asking families to share Easter testimonials, and to include that as there's one church in Cabot that their Easter sermon is going to be titled Stories of Hope. And so they've asked their church members to share why the resurrection of Jesus gives them hope, so they can share those family testimonies as a part of their service that day. That way people can still see others in the church and hear from others in the church, even though they are gathering together online. As far as the activities, I've heard of some churches. I think one of Brother Danny's churches, Second Baptist in Russellville, Chris Russell there, has talked about having a drive-in movie, I think, and is working with the city to work out some of the logistics of proper spacing and ushering and things like that, but possibly doing a drive-in movie on Good Friday evening or something like that. I think there are some who are, I heard of one church here in Benton who they are having a Easter selfie competition. They're asking for people in their church to decorate their yards for Easter, and then they're basically making it like an Easter selfie scavenger hunt, like through the week, if you can go and get a selfie made in all 20 yards that are decorated, and so I'm not sure about that. I've heard about the individual egg hunts, but then I've heard from some guys who just said, hey, we're going to have Easter service, and then we're going to do our activities later. Some of them are kind of looking at maybe Mother's Day weekend or Father's Day weekend to come back together and do the egg hunt or the block party or whatever, if we can get together at that time. So I think we're just trying to figure it out together and just bring ideas to the table. I would just also throw in that as you guys are sharing, our team, I work for the Evangelism and Church Health team, for those of you who don't know me, and our team has a living document essentially on Microsoft Teams that we're putting together as we hear of different online worship ideas, outreach strategies, Easter strategies. We're typing these things into a document so that then whenever we encounter other people with questions, then we have lists to go to and kind of share those ideas with them. So I really appreciate you all's input, because it gives us more to give to other pastors in the state who are trying to solve this Rubik's Cube with us, because everyone's context and community is a little bit different. And so how the person in, Greer's Ferry might respond to this, with their, large number of cases in that small community might be different than somebody in Marmaduke or Hope. And so I appreciate the input. But those are some ideas that I've come across as far as activity ideas and service ideas.
Awesome. Thanks, Laramie. Hey, Chris, go ahead. Sad or white?
I was just going to say, as far as what we were planning on doing, we don't have an internet speed to do live stream, so we're having to pre-record. So as far as what we do for Easter, our goal is to do some kind of really focused Good Friday short service, few songs, and do that. Again, that's in addition to what we normally do. To do a little bit. Now it's just been my wife and I doing the worship, and then myself preaching. So we've tried to be very careful that even as far as up at the church, we still only have 5 to 7 people, including, and it's really just 2 family units who are here. I'm a little hesitant to do anything else. I think one of the things that we got to be cautious of, there's a good chance there comes a stay put order pretty quick from the state, and so that we've got to be really careful that we do to do too much with it, because that could, as fast as things change, that could be something that even some of the plans of getting out come later this week or early next week get shifted. And so we just kind of took that into account to say we're gonna still stay with really not doing anything that's drawing people to try to come, or going to a whole lot of people just in case. And then, I think one of our things we want to do, the focus of Easter in that Easter service, and it'll be perhaps a little grander, is hoping to get some of our folks to share things, what Easter means, make that a part of it. And then kind of when we get back, some of the things that we're not going to do, and I know this may differ, we normally try to do the Lord's Supper, but was planned for this Sunday. Well, we're not going to do it online. It's just, and again, I don't care if somebody else has a different feeling on that. I just don't want to do it when we're not actually gathered. So we'll do second Sunday. We're able to come back and kind of refocus ourselves on what it is that we didn't get a chance to corporately and community-wide gather to celebrate Easter, doing that whenever it is that we get to come back and meet together. But I think from our standpoint, it's difficult for sure, and tough decisions that you got to make. But we're still going to kind of keep with keeping things we've been doing in digital interaction.
Awesome. Eddie, you want to chime in there?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. What we're looking at doing is maybe doing a drive-in service. I pastor in Marshall. We actually have a drive-in. So last Sunday, our Ministerial Alliance done a drive-in service at the drive-in. The drive-in is going to be closed the next couple of weeks, but we're thinking about on Easter Sunday doing a drive-in service in our church parking lot. We've got the FM transmitter, and I was talking with one of my deacons the other day, and we think we came up with a plan on how we could, arrange things so that everybody would be able to kind of see, and we're thinking we'll set up like a stage on a trailer where we can preach from and sing from, and everyone else just stay in their cars, and basically be the same 5 people that we now have coming to the church to do our online Facebook Live services that we're doing would be the same 5 people that would get out and be on the stage for the drive-in service. Everyone else stay in the cars. So we're looking at doing that. Beyond that, we haven't really thought a lot about Easter. We've been just thinking about how to make connections and stay connected, doing everything else that we're trying to do during this time. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay. Thanks, Eddie. Hey, Josh, haven't heard from you yet. Raspberry.
Yes, sir. We're doing a couple of different things. We've been pre-recording all of our services for internet stability issues and stuff like that. But we generally don't get to do a Good Friday service because our Ministerial Alliance does a community Good Friday service. And so we're looking forward to this year. We're actually going to do a live Good Friday service on Friday night, which we're excited about. But one thing I thought through trying to figure out is having people within our church do watch parties on Facebook on Easter Sunday morning. If you can host a watch party, and then you can actually have more interaction, like in the comments live while things are happening. And so we're thinking through some discussion questions we can send out to a handful of people in the church that can host a watch party, and then enter in those discussion questions at predetermined points within the service, and just try to engage, just try to get some interaction with people while they're watching. Another thing we've done is we've kind of stepped back in time a little bit. We're retooling our tape ministry a little bit. We have several in our church that don't have any internet, they don't have Facebook, they don't have any of that. So we're working on duplicating CDs and DVD recordings of our services that we've done already. And that way we can deliver those to some of our senior adults and others that don't have that. And we've got people that just geographically, they don't have good internet access. And so we're working on trying to kind of revamp that a little bit too.
Hey, Josh, let me follow up with a question there.
Sure.
On the watch party thing that you're thinking about encouraging church members to do, what kind of follow-up type piece are you working on for that? Anything in terms of interacting after that watch party with those who tune in, who chime into that?
The hard part is you can't, at least somebody knows a way that I'm not aware of, is being able to go back after the fact and see who was there. I know you can see while you're doing it live, you can see who's joining in, but sometimes that's only for a few moments, and it's hard to see who was there watching. Anybody that comments, you can see who they were. But as far as I know, the best way to do that is just pay attention, and if somebody comes in, jot down who it was, and then try to send them a message afterward. But there may be a better way of following up on that I'm not aware of.
Anybody want to chime in there? Have you been doing that already with the online services that you've been offering, where you've done follow up with those?
Hey, Dr. Sam. So what you can do with the watch parties, some of those, if somebody makes comments that are not necessarily on yours, or the people that they see kind of chime in that are not your friends, they can go back and follow up with those folks. That you'll see people come in, but they may not necessarily make a comment. For example, when we do a watch party, somebody may share what we're doing with their friends, but they're not friends directly with the church. They can go back and look at those, and then we can inbox and follow those up as it'll say Sam Roberts joined, but you may never make a comment, but as that person joins, you can go back and do it that way. So it's tedious, and you would have to include a large group of people to do it, but part of it is still possible.
Yeah, would you assign one person, guys, to that task, like in that watch party with that family, to say your responsibility is to just jot down when people join in, so we have a good tally of those who were there.
Yeah, it would have to be several. You can't do one, because you want to get everybody, so you would have to have a group of folks to do that.
Dr. Sam, I'll say there was one church we talked with last week that they took their evangelism team and added some additional people and asked them to watch the service with the specific goal of seeing who was joining the service and simply jotting down those names. Then said, you don't have to pay attention to the message now. Go back and watch it later. We want you to focus on who you see that's joining, and jot those names down. Then they went back and made contact with that. I'd also say put a phone number up on the screen where people can call and speak to somebody about making a spiritual decision. There's a pastor in Searcy that does that, has done that the last few weeks, put his personal cell number up. And Sunday he got a call from a guy in Bakersfield, California, who through their conversation ends up accepting Christ. And by the time he finished the conversation and got back to his office, he had an email from the guy that said, "Hey, here's my address. If you would send me a Bible and some other stuff that I can start studying." So that's just a simple way. You're making an invitation appeal, I suspect. What do they do if they don't know how to get in touch with you? So if you're willing, put your cell number up, or a number at the church that somebody is sitting there at that time that they can call, or even an email if they watch it later. So I think those things are key on how to engage and take advantage of the opportunity that we have. It's like, I think it was Josh that mentioned, I got a text since we've been talking, connections with the governor's office say that the shelter in place order is coming this weekend at the latest. And so that may take care of any things that we want to do outside that I shared as we started here. But they also said that, you know, they wouldn't stop people from gathering in a church parking lot, you know, for the drive-in services, as long as they stayed in the cars. That wouldn't be an area of enforcement. But it does seem that a new order is coming before Easter.
Sandy Taylor, chime in there. Let us know what's on your mind.
Well, a lot of good information here, guys. I appreciate y'all sharing your ideas. As you were talking about that live stream, we do the live stream each Sunday, and just that follow up is I invited folks this Sunday from mine and my own little watch party, or I'm not real familiar, just deal with how that worked, but I saw people that actually joined in that I was shocked that they did. You know, when I invited them, some folks that, man, I didn't have a clue that they would, and it just dawned on me, man, didn't follow back up. You know, next week, the following week, following day, whatever, message them, personal message, whatever you have to do to make a contact there and to kind of follow up with them. I thought that'd be a great thing to do as far as outreach goes. You know, we are discussing here at First Dover, we're talking about the possibility of maybe trying to do a communion service there on Easter Sunday. And Chris, I agree with you totally on that. They're just hard to think about doing that, not being together, but this is such a different time. And I don't know that our folks wouldn't really, appreciate that. I think there's some qualities to that as well. We're not sure we're going to do it yet, but if we do, we've talked about doing it from a standpoint of this Sunday and on Facebook, as well as getting our folks prepared for that, as far as getting the elements, have that ready to go so that they do that personally there at their house. And as our pastor, Jeff, leads them through that. So that's an option we're batting around. I really like the idea too. You mentioned about you guys talked about the videos of the family, the testimonies. We've done that with kids on many situations where we'll video just, what does Christmas mean to you? What does Easter mean to you? And, you know, and it's always funny and cute, but take it maybe to a different level with a family testimony. I think that would be very special to a lot of folks. So those are great ideas, guys. I don't know if there's anything that I can add that can help to what you guys are talking about, but I just appreciate the thoughts that you guys are having. It sure's making me think about things that maybe we can do maybe a little bit ourselves. So I appreciate what you're doing, fellas.
Thanks, Sandy. Hey, Andrew, jump in here. Give us some wisdom, brother.
I don't know that I have a lot of wisdom, but I jumped on here because I wanted to hear what you guys were sharing. We have been doing the community egg drop for the last 5 years, using the helicopter service out of Branson. And just this last Monday, I made it official and canceled that with the community. It's a great outreach for our community. Bringing somebody in to speak to so many people. We're kind of like Brother Chris over there. We're continuing on from what we can do from me from the church and our leadership team from their homes. We're not encouraging people to leave their homes. We're one of the counties that have an active case. And we're an older community with a lot of high risk people. So we just felt like we would wait. We're continuing on with Easter messages building up to Easter Sunday. We were trying to do the live stream, and what I'm hearing is a lot of us are struggling with the same thing, not very good bandwidth. So we're moving to a record to post live stream type issue. But our desire and what our intentions are is to do a big Easter celebration when this is all done. Normally we have a sunrise service on Easter morning with a quartet that comes in and does a concert plus a brunch plus, so Easter weekend is just big for Newton County Baptist Church, and we're still going to do something, but we're just going to wait until the dust settles, so to speak, and put a lot of effort into celebrating the resurrection of Jesus after we get past this. Because like I've told my leadership team, we're going to celebrate Easter. It's just a matter of when we do it. And we felt like our decision was to not encourage people to get out. You encourage them to get out, and then they're out, and then they make decisions to go other places. And we just did not want to encourage that. But I appreciate being able to hear from each of you men what y'all shared. I've been jotting down some notes and everything. So thank you for that.
Hey, thanks, Andrew. Along those lines with what Andrew said and Chris and several others about, hey, when this thing is all over, we're going to do a big, kind of Easter celebration, resurrection celebration. I encourage you guys know that when this ban, those sort of things are lifted, I've got a feeling our buildings are going to be overrun with people, coming in. So start making those preparations now of what you need to do to welcome those folks when they get there. Don't wait until 3 or 4 days before to say, now what are we going to do? You've got plenty of time right now to start thinking, to start jotting down some notes. Hey, whenever this happens, we want to be prepared for that large number of people that are going to show up. What are you going to provide? What is there going to be some kind of a gift that you're going to give that you can go ahead and order now? Have those on hand, have those ready, have those sent to your front door. But go ahead and start making those preparations, guys. Can't encourage you enough along those lines. But the thing I also want to encourage you to do is, even now, while all of this is new to us and we're experimenting, with, is the Facebook Live going to work for us? Hey, it's not. So we're going to do the pre-recorded, like Chris has said, like Andrew said. However you are getting that message out on Sunday or other times, don't forget the importance of follow-up, of having some kind of outreach strategy there. How are we going to identify who those folks are that are tuning in, that are not part of the church family, and how are we going to try to connect them into the church family now, as well as when we get back together. So just encourage you guys to be thinking along those lines. Hey, Chris, I keep coming back to you, but let me ask you this question: since you're the one you're one who's already said we're pre-recording, the Facebook Live doesn't work for us, so that's how that's the format we're using to get the message out on Sundays or other times. How are you doing the follow-up with that pre-recording kind of message? Speak to that for a moment.
Well, so I know a little bit about the technology side. So because we talked about doing live streaming a year ago before things got to the point where we had to figure out what we were going to do. And so I quickly began to look around. Scott Miller, our DOM here at Faulkner, hosted an online deal and got some more ideas. So what we've done in the pre-recording is typically try to get it uploaded Saturday to where we can YouTube and Facebook premiere it at our service time. We start the watch party. I typically have one going. Sometimes there's another church member that does, and then same thing on YouTube. And so there's just a couple of us. I'm on staff, and then our part-time youth leader. And so we try to be logged in on both of those platforms where we can engage people and talk to them. When we see their name, try to say hi to them, wave to them. So them are church members, they're coming in, or the way Facebook is, it's really limited. You're going to invite your friends, and that's who you're going to see basically pop up in there. There's not a good metric on either platform that gives you a surefire way to follow up with everybody, because you don't know who views, you don't know how long they view. You start to see those things. But I think part of what was already said, I believe it might have been Neil who said it, having people who are engaging in the comment section, so our family routine is we get up and do Sunday school for our kids. We did a Zoom meeting with my small group Sunday morning, and then I prayed for them and said, okay, let's all go watch the service at our houses. And so we sit down and with our kids, we are watching my wife and I, my kids are watching my wife and I lead worship, and then we watch myself preach, and in doing so, we're trying to engage with people and, offer if they got a prayer request in the video we've added. If something's going on that you'd like prayer for, if there's a need that you have, I filmed a closing video that talks about how you can give, how you can contact us, and try to put some of that information on the screen. And we're still tweaking it. We're going to add some more things, probably add a form on our webpage that they can go to and ask if they need a food box or if they want more information or a follow-up. But obviously we can't track everybody. We can just make some avenues for people to reach out to us, and I've tried to make sure we kept our email address, the webpage, and the church phone number available where people can reach out to us. So we'll try to follow up with them.
Is this free charge?
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, we've got a couple of others here real quick that we haven't heard from. I want to give you guys the opportunity to chime in. Tim, Mark Smith, who looks like he stepped away for a moment, Chris Miller, and Bert. Hey, Bert, good to see you, my friend. But if you guys would like to chime in, you go right ahead with anything. And then I'd like for Rusty to take a minute just to let us know what Lifeway, may have to offer to help pastors in, this transition of doing things differently. So let's check with these guys. Doug, you want to chime in there?
Well, the main thing we're dealing with is just first of all, trying to catch up to the technology side. Then also dealing with, we were going to do the drive-in, spoke with our local mayor, and he rather strongly suggested that we not do that. I think he may have had some of that inside information also. So we're just going to go with Facebook Live. I'm so technology gifted that it took me an hour and a half past my time to post that first service that I had pre-recorded on the first Sunday we had to go to online. So we've gone back just Facebook Live and asking our folks to understand, listen, we're going to have some problems, those kind of things, but we've been able to reach more folks through this way. I've had more contact with inactive members, community members than I probably have directly in probably about 2 or 3 months probably. So that's been a blessing in the middle of all the chaos and everything. But we're just trying to hold serve right now and trying to see if we can figure out how we can best navigate until we can get back together again.
Amen. Hey, Tim, what you got there, brother?
Well, I'm just I'm the youth pastor, and Mark Smith is our pastor, and so I'll let him speak on our behalf for what our church is doing whenever he gets back.
Okay. Hey, Tim, do you know my son Turner Roberts?
I do not.
Okay, he's in Hamburg. He's a gamer. Does a lot of the video games. Check out a couple of things that he did. Go to his Facebook page
Okay.
and check out a couple of things that he did just recently on trying to connect students together with some different formats. It is pretty cool.
I just got a PS4 last week for the quarantine time, and it's given me a good excuse to get one, and I haven't bought one in 10 years, and so I've been connecting with people online there as well. So
Awesome,
Turner, you said Turner? Is that right?
Yeah, Turner, Turner, Robert.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, let's see here. Who else do we have? Hey, Bert, what's going on in your neck of the woods, brother? Bert may have stepped out for a minute. Who else do we have there that we haven't heard from yet? Hey, Tim, text Mark, tell him get back to the desk, okay? We really want to hear from him. Hey, Rusty, go ahead and share with us a little bit on Lifeway with what's available to these guys right now.
Well, a couple things. One little reminder, before I do that is, as different as Easter's going to be this year, there's one thing that will be the same, and that's that there are folks who don't normally go to church who are going to be looking for some form of Easter worship participation. And most would prefer a local service if they can find one. And so I just want to encourage you, don't miss the simple step of making a nice, digital, well-produced, shareable Facebook image. And don't just leave it on your page, your church page, because those folks may or may not find it, but make sure your members are sharing it and start doing that now. An invitation to join you, whether it's going to be live or recorded. Start publicizing that now to get folks aware that, hey, you're still around and want to help them worship on Easter Sunday. The other thing is Lifeway does have a page full of resources, and I put it in the chat early on. It's just lifeway.com/coronavirus. And one of the things on there is another thing that we're seeing that is really big kingdom picture is a good thing. And that's that parents are having to learn how to disciple their kids at home. And I see Chris is on here, and kids ministers are just loving this. They're finally being forced to do things you've been encouraging and trying to get them to do all along. And so there are a couple of things on Lifeway's coronavirus page just for parents. One is just a devotional guide for families to use. And you can use it however they want to, but it just makes it easy for parents to lead their kids in devotion related to Easter. And then there's also a family Easter event that Brian Dembozic, who is one of our kids leaders, has put on there. Just some activities and things to help families participate in the celebration of the Resurrection Sunday that's coming up. So, but again, there are just a lot of different things on that coronavirus website that will help you. Some things, Doug, technology-wise, things to help you to do virtual groups. If you're not able to get your Sunday school classes together, there's some ways on there to help them figure out how to use this Zoom technology. Also some important warnings on there about Zoom. And if you've not found this yet, be sure and check this out. We've been hearing some horrifying stories of hackers getting into Sunday school classes and posting pornography live while the events are taking place. And there are just some very simple settings on Zoom that you need to let your folks know about that are doing that, just so they can be protected. But Lifeway is looking for feedback. By the way, if there's something we are not doing that would help you pastors and church leaders, please let us know. We're open to making some very quick changes in the way we do things if it will help you continue your ministry to your families.
Okay. Hey, Chris Miller, we haven't heard from you yet.
I'm up here practicing social distancing with Pryor. He's just right there across on the other side of the wall. So we can't be on this call together. So I'm just over here hanging out in the office. He's in his. But Rusty's right. Like this is like a big deal for me because I've been pushing our parents to disciple their kids and do their job at home for so long that now they're actually having to do it. So I'm pretty pumped about that. But if you're pastors, make sure you get those resources into the hands of your parents. So that they, I think Rusty mentioned, I think Gospel Project has the Easter curriculum they're sending out that you can use videos and stuff like that. So make sure you're putting that in the hands of your kids or your parents so that they can do that for your kids.
Yeah,
thank you, man. I would encourage all to do.
Anyone else have any last words of wisdom to share before we close out here? Bob Fielding, you want to share anything?
I think y'all have done a wonderful job.
Hey, Sam, I've got a word of caution, maybe.
Yeah, Eddie.
That would we were talking about the drive-in services. And I know I'm the one that was mentioned, and we might do that on Easter, but anybody else that's planning something like that, I would say this, because we did have the drive-in service at our local drive-in theater, that the Ministerial Alliance done, and it went really well. Everyone stayed in their cars pretty much during the service, but there was a lot of people getting out afterwards and walking around. And so I would say if there is, if we don't end up with a shelter in place, and if that is something that you can do and that you decide to do, the importance of really stressing that you got to stay in your car. I really don't think if we do it at our church that we'll have any trouble keeping people in their cars. I think it was a couple of different mixtures of it being at the drive-in and people are used to getting out, and also it was all these different churches together, because the Ministerial Alliance feel is a little different than our own local church. But that was just kind of a word of caution that I was thinking about as Andrew was speaking earlier. It just brought it to mind that if you do something like that, you really want, just because of even community, the view of the community then sees that as, well, they're not taking this seriously because everybody's out walking around. So that was a word of caution from what we've seen actually happen at the service last weekend.
Thank you, man. Hey, that's one thing I've been really cautioning with talking to pastors across the state. Guys, keep this in mind. The decisions that you make right now are going to have an impact and influence on the ministry that you're able to do after this is over, and on the witness of your church in the community after this is over. So, whatever those decisions are you make sure you're staying within the guidelines that are given to us. Practicing Romans 13. We've got to be good citizens. We've got to look out for the good of our city where we've been planted, because ministry not only happens right now, but ministry is going to continue after this whole thing's over with. And you sure don't want to make those decisions. They're going to negatively impact the possibility of ministry when all of this is over and we're back to some kind of state of normalcy. So do keep that in mind. That's a great word, Eddie, and Chris and other guys. Thank you all for sharing there. Hey, Clint, you want to wrap her up for us here?
Yes, sir. Let me just throw in one thing, and that's as we you think after Easter and the ideas and just trying to put all this together, I just want to encourage you, don't do it alone, especially guys maybe that are single staff. Get you some folks to help you, especially with the follow-up aspect or engaging with people on your videos. If I could go back and do something better as a pastor, it'd be a lot of things, but probably the main thing would be getting people to help me do things that I thought I had to do all by myself. So I would encourage you to expand your team with your lay leaders there and get them involved. Guys, I do appreciate you joining us. I hope it's been beneficial to you. If we can help you in any way.
Hey, one thing here, Clint, real quick. Hey, Mark has just come back on. Mark, if you can, if you've got anything you want to share with everybody, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, well, I know earlier there was a question about Easter, so I'm like a lot of these guys. We don't have the internet speed at our church to do a live service, so we've been doing the pre-recorded. And so we wanted Easter to be a little different. So actually, I hiked up Pinnacle Mountain yesterday morning before sunrise. And so we put the sunrise in the background, and then I preached my Easter sermons just to try to make it a little different, a little bit more special. Of course, they closed Pinnacle, I think, yesterday afternoon, so that was pretty close there. But that's what we're doing. I think a lot of the things other guys have said, we've tried to encourage people to meet in groups to watch, but we have so many senior adults and so many parents with little kids. They just are very hesitant. And look, I respect all that. But I know we have some classes that are doing Zoom just like this. And so after the sermon, there is a Sunday school class getting on and trying to, walk through some discussion questions that we have for them to at least make an attempt for community. I mean, I think we'd all agree community is fellowship is what people are really missing. And, you can do online stuff and Zoom stuff. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Good work. Go ahead, Clint.
Just want to say, guys, if anything we can do to help you, our you got our contact info. You can call the building, the main number, and they can get in touch with us. My email is over in the chat. Everybody else is a similar first letter, first name, and then the last name at absc.org. We want to do whatever we can to help you. The time's coming when they're going to allow us to meet together and allow us to do community things again. And as already been mentioned, I think the harvest is going to be plentiful at that time, and folks are going to be looking for hope. And so we're praying for you, and I appreciate the work that you're doing in the service for the Lord.